Throughout history, men have risen to power, wielding absolute control and instilling fear in the hearts of millions. Today we delve into the dark legacies of the world's most infamous dictators. Take Adolf Hitler, for instance. Imagine, if you will, the shattered remnants of a once proud Germany. The year is 1933. The sting of defeat in the Great War still lingers in the air, a bitter taste on the lips of every German citizen. Economic despair cripples the nation, and the Treaty of Versailles hangs over their heads like a Damocles sword, a constant reminder of their humiliation. A charismatic demagogue with a voice that could stir the souls of men emerges from the beer halls of Munich. His name? Adolf Hitler. A master of propaganda, he understood the power of spectacle, the allure of a fabricated enemy. He offered simple solutions to complex problems, scapegoating minorities and fanning the flames of nationalism. Hitler's rallies were carefully orchestrated displays of power and pageantry. The air throbbed with the intoxicating rhythm of marching boots and the chilling fervor of a nation on the precipice of madness. Swastikas, once benign symbols, were contorted into emblems of hate, casting a long shadow over Germany and the world. He preyed on these weaknesses, weaving a narrative of German supremacy and victimhood, a dangerous ideology that would ultimately lead to the horrors of the Holocaust. Freedoms were stripped away, dissent silenced, and the machinery of genocide set in motion. The stench of burning flesh from the death camps would forever stain the conscience of humanity, a chilling reminder of the consequences of unchecked hatred. From the ashes of the Russian Revolution, a new empire emerged from the flames, forged in the crucible of civil war and fueled by the promise of a workers' paradise. At its helm stood Joseph Stalin, a man of steel, his name whispered in hushed tones, a chilling testament to the fear he instilled in the hearts of millions. Stalin's reign was one of paranoia and absolute control. He transformed the Soviet Union into a totalitarian state, where every aspect of life, from the cradle to the grave, was subject to the whims of the party. He was the architect of a system that devoured its own, a regime built on a foundation of fear and suspicion. The purges, a period of mass terror orchestrated by Stalin, swept across the Soviet Union like a deadly storm. Millions were accused of treason, espionage, and sabotage, their lives extinguished in an orgy of violence. Families were torn apart, friends denounced friends, and the very fabric of society was shredded by the machinery of repression. No one was safe from the reach of his secret police, the NKVD, whose presence cast a long shadow over every aspect of Soviet life. The gulags, vast forced labor camps scattered across the frozen wastelands of Siberia, became synonymous with Stalin's reign of terror. Millions perished within their barbed wire fences, victims of starvation, disease, and the brutal whims of their captors. Stalin's legacy is a complex and contradictory one, transforming the Soviet Union. Benito Mussolini, the rise and fall of Il Duce. Picture, if you will, the sun-drenched piazzas of Italy, a nation yearning for its past glory, haunted by the ghosts of the Roman Empire. From this longing for greatness, a new Caesar emerged, a charismatic leader who promised to restore Italy to its rightful place on the world stage. His name? Benito Mussolini, Il Duce, the leader. Mussolini was a master of spectacle, a showman who understood the power of imagery and the allure of a strongman. He presented himself as the savior of Italy, the embodiment of national pride and strength. His black shirts, a paramilitary force loyal only to him, roamed the streets, silencing dissent and enforcing his will. Fascism. A toxic brew of nationalism, militarism and authoritarianism took root in the fertile ground of Italian discontent. Mussolini's ambition knew no bounds. He dreamed of a new Roman Empire, a Mediterranean dominion under his absolute rule. He forged an alliance with Hitler, a pact with the devil that would ultimately lead to Italy's ruin. The two dictators, united by their shared thirst for power and their contempt for democracy, plunged the world into the abyss of World War II. The Italian people, weary of war and disillusioned by their leader, turned against him. He was captured and executed by his own people, his body strung up in a Milan square, a grim reminder of the fleeting nature of power and the inevitable fall from grace that awaits all tyrants. Kim Jong-un, the Hermit Kingdom's iron grip. In the far reaches of the East, shrouded in secrecy and isolation, lies the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a land frozen in time, ruled by a dynasty built on fear and oppression. At its helm stands Kim Jong-un, the third generation of his family to hold absolute power over the Hermit Kingdom. Kim inherited a nation shaped by the legacies of his father and grandfather, a totalitarian state where the cult of personality reigns supreme. His every word is treated as gospel, his image plastered on every wall, a constant reminder of the omnipresent gaze of the state. North Korea exists in a perpetual state of wartime mobilization, its people subjected to constant propaganda and indoctrination. Fear is the primary tool of control, a weapon wielded with ruthless efficiency to maintain the Kim regime's grip on power. Kim's notorious secret, the development of nuclear weapons, a dangerous gamble aimed at ensuring the survival of his regime. The true cost of Kim's nuclear ambitions is borne by his people, who endure widespread poverty, malnutrition and human rights abuses. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a glimmer of hope, a sign that the iron grip of the Kim dynasty might one day loosen. As we've journeyed through the darkest corridors of history, we've encountered men driven by ambition, paranoia, and a lust for power that knew no bounds. Their legacies serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of freedom, the seductive nature of control, and the ever-present potential for darkness to take root in the human heart. The stories of these infamous dictators remind us that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. We must remain ever watchful, guarding against the insidious creep of authoritarianism and the seductive whispers of those who would exploit our fears and prejudices. The human spirit, however, is not easily extinguished. Throughout history, even in the darkest of times, brave souls have risen to challenge tyranny, to speak truth to power, and to fight for a better tomorrow. From the Warsaw Ghetto uprising to the fall of the Berlin Wall, from the Arab Spring to the countless acts of quiet resistance that dot the human experience, we see the indomitable will to be free. These acts of courage, both great and small, remind us that we are not passive bystanders in the face of oppression. We have the power to shape our own destinies, to resist tyranny in all its forms, and to build a world where the rights and dignity of every individual are respected and protected. The fight for freedom is a perpetual struggle, a relay race across generations. As we reflect on history's darkest chapters, let's commit to ensuring that the lessons learned guide us toward a more just and equitable world. Let us be the generation that breaks the cycle of hatred and oppression, that chooses empathy over division, and that stands as guardians of freedom for generations to come. Let us choose hope over fear, action over apathy, and together let us build a world worthy of the sacrifices made by those who fought so valiantly for the freedoms we enjoy today.